Hey there, Cascadia Hockey listeners. A quick note about today's episode. We want to make sure that we're doing our part to be socially whatever it is right now. So this week we decided to try the podcast virtually with everyone over Discord. Worked out pretty well. 2 different states, 2 different time zones. There was actually somebody in a different Canadian province in there as well, and it turned out fairly well. You will hear a few little minor glitches with the audio, just with internet issues and all that sort of stuff. But overall, we think it turned out pretty well. We want to make sure that we continue to bring you this podcast to just entertain you, to talk hockey. We're all missing it. We're all jonesing for it. So this is just a little bit to take your mind off of the craziness that is the world that we live in right now. And before we start, I just want to say a big thank you once again to Strange Famous Records for allowing us to use their music. This week's opening and closing music is brought to you by Prolific. The track is Ice Cream Tacos, because we could all use a little bit more of that in our lives. The album is Dangerfield, and that was Strange Famous Records 2016. Once again, thank you guys so much for supporting us and listening. And now on to the show. All right, everybody, welcome. We are doing this again. The end of the world cannot stop us from podcasting.
Looks a little different.
It looks a little different. You guys can't see it. It's a little interesting right now. We've got Discord going. Thank you, Discord, for providing great services so that we can see each other. And Derek's gone. He just went black. Now, there he's back. Nobody... Yeah. There he is. So we're going to try this today because essentially the whole world is shut down at this point, but they cannot break the internet. My name is Aaron Piper. I am the host with, I'm the host with the most, so I'm just going to go there with it.
Yeah.
I am sitting next to my beautiful wife, Anya Piper. And joining us today is the regular guy, number 86, Derek Schoenrock. How are you doing, buddy?
Good morning, everybody. I'm fantastic. Thank you. I'm in my panic room.
He's in his panic room right now.
That's a rad-looking panic room.
Mr. Houtenstein, Mr. Discord himself, is joining us from Vegas. How are you doing, buddy?
Hi, I'm good. Vegas is good, I guess.
Are the dogs sleeping?
From what I've seen.
Dogs sleeping behind you?
No, they're not in the room at all right now.
They weren't invited?
No, they were. When I was on the phone call with the doctor a little bit ago, they were scratching at the door. They got the hint. They were coming in. So
cool. And I'm gonna say we don't really. This is not a guest. Parker's family now. Once you get past your hat trick, you're just part of the family. So Parker, who just this weekend did a 37 fucking hour drive from Ottawa to St. Albert. Alberta's back home hanging with family. Parker is joining us today. How you doing, my friend?
Good, man. Thanks again for having me on. I'm looking forward.
For sure, dude. For sure.
You drove that whole way?
Yeah, 37 hours.
Did you do it all by yourself?
No, I actually had a really good buddy who was in a government internship living in Ottawa. That obviously got canceled, postponed.
Yeah.
So it worked out really well. So we got to drive back together. So at least I had a co-pilot with me. Which was
nice. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That would suck.
That would have fucking sucked.
Yeah, because your mental health might not have been the best at that point. So.
Yeah, I would have been calling all you guys, everyone in my contact list.
Keep me awake, man.
Yes.
What'd your playlist look like on that 37-hour drive?
We did a lot of podcasts.
Nice.
My buddy and I, him more so than me, are like big into Major League Baseball.
Oh, cool.
We listen to a ton of Baseball Tonight and stuff like that. There's a few Barstool baseball ones that we listen to. It's funny because they're obviously they do their like once a week sort of stuff. So it's funny to see how poorly some of those podcasts age. It's like, oh, we're going to be doing this and opening day this and that, and then now there's
Everything's gone dark.
Put some stuff from even just like the beginning of March or whatever. See, how much everything's changed, in the last 3 weeks, and how rapidly fucking fast all this shit's growing. So
yeah, it's been crazy. You're doing online classes now, so are you going to be heading back to Ottawa, or are you just hanging out in St. Albert for now?
No, I'll be hanging out in St. Albert for the next little bit. Yeah, all my classes are online. A couple of my teachers are doing like recording their lectures and then posting them like on YouTube or on like the discussion boards and stuff, so you can kind of watch them whenever we want. Because obviously there's a ton of, not everyone that's going to Carleton's from Ottawa.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of moving around. There's a bunch of moving parts and stuff. So they're nice enough to actually record them instead of streaming them, which is nice. So get to do that and kind of watch them on my own time and get caught up that way. But yeah, we're getting like to the end. We got supposed to have exams like in the next 3 weeks. So there's not a whole lot left going on other than the tests and everything. But yeah, so it's nice to be back home, see my family. Obviously it's under some crazy circumstances.
Yeah, to say the least, right? I know a couple of the AMS boys, or somebody stuck out to me is from St. Albert as well.
Mark Lejoie.
Oh, Lejoie. Okay, so him and his family live there?
Tyson, they're both from St. Albert. Tyson and Mark are both from St. Albert.
Oh, right on. Do you have any contact with them? You hang out at all?
Say that again. Sorry, you're cut out.
Sorry, no. I was just gonna say, do you have any contact with them? Have you talked to them since you've been back?
All the time. I talk to Mark. I talk to Mark quite a bit. He only lives like a few minutes away from me, so we talk quite a bit.
Very cool.
Tyson a little bit, but not so much. Yeah, me and Mark are pretty good buddies actually. So
awesome. Dude, I said it a lot this year. I think I said it on the podcast, but Mark's a stud, man. That guy is only 16 right now. Maybe turned 17, but dude, guy is so good on the ice. He's been one of the bright spots for sure. And with that, and Tyson too. I like that kid, man. I think, future's bright. But for right now, the future's on hold. It's been interesting. Everything is pretty much shutting down. Do you guys, what's your general feeling right now for what's going to happen with the NHL?
I have kind of a prediction, but it's a very, very, like, I don't have any confidence in my prediction. Just kind of based on like what the word around the arena is like, I haven't been working. I haven't been to work in over about a week and a half now, and I have nothing this week either. Who knows what next week looks like? But they are trying to get us in to do like, onesie twosie kind of maintenance days or something, just to get some money going to us. But also my prediction, and this is just my speculation. It's nothing that I've heard. I imagine it's possible that we will. Well, let me backtrack a little. MGM has said that they don't expect to do any public events until May. Okay. So what I imagine might happen is that, let's say the NHL is like, okay, things are starting to, wind down a little, we're thinking we're okay. I think they might still do some crowdless games. Maybe they'll finish out the season crowdless, and then by the playoffs, maybe things will be okay to, like, let people back in again. Hopefully. I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of like my prediction, my speculation. They could just call it off altogether. I don't know. Another thing to look at, though, when I say this, is the thing that goes against my little prediction here, is that there are a lot of these cases that are coming out of the NBA and the NHL who have connections to the Staples Center. So someone in the Staples Center spread it to a ton of people.
Oh, wow.
In LA. So that could put, like, a rain on my little prediction parade, but I don't know. I mean, it's so uncertain. Like, who knows what tomorrow's going to look like, kind of thing. So, yeah, I hope for the best, of course. And, it's kind of fun seeing kind of, the players on their social media, like what they're doing to pass the time. I think it was an LA player was delivering TP to a teammate's house with a drone. He flew a drone to his house and
That's hilarious.
Had a bucket below it with TP in it. And then he just, like, landed in his backyard. He got the toilet paper, and then he flew back to his house. So it's kind of cool seeing, like, kind of some of the stuff that's coming out of this. the people are doing to kind of like keep their spirits up and whatnot. So like lack of hockey sucks. It really does. And we didn't play Saturday. We didn't play NHL on Saturday.
I know.
It's because we were day drinking.
Well, yeah, we did a lot of day drinking this weekend.
Same. That's the best time to do it.
We were playing with fire.
Derek, you've been awfully quiet. I think are you day drinking right now?
I just had a drink. Yeah.
That's awesome.
If I pick up my trash can under my desk right now, it's going to sound like just absolute glass recycling. That's all it's going to be.
Well, like I said before we started, time is literally means nothing anymore. The days don't mean anything. We're one step away from martial law, so why can't a grown-ass man have a beer at 10:30 in the morning?
Exactly.
Hey, ain't no judging, man. It was funny because Saturday, Ani and I, we did that like well before lunch. We had a whiskey, and then like Sunday morning, we're sitting out around the fire pit. It's like 10 o'clock. She's like, so when can we start day drinking today? Oh, look, God.
There's no rule.
There's no rule. Don't even have to wear a fucking shirt, man.
And you didn't.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky I
am. Well, we told Derek you didn't have to wear any pants. What's that?
Oh, he's got it right here. Oh.
In the morning?
Easy like Sunday morning.
Oh, yes. Yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. It's funny, Parker. Like a week or so ago, I was hanging out with Boosh and we were just talking a little bit, and then like the season gets canceled a couple days later, and he hits his 19th birthday like here recently, and now he's back home in Canada. That's got to be the silver lining to all the bullshit.
Oh yeah, getting right on the piss for Boosh. Yeah, not like it was stopping him much before, but yeah, it's a number, right?
That's funny, man.
Oh man.
Yeah. Man, okay, things are crazy.
So speaking of Boosh, did you guys see the Ams did release an end-of-season awards on their website?
Yes, I haven't looked at it yet because I've been mad scrambling to finish the end-of-year video right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we're trying.
I do have it pulled up. Do we want to hear them?
Sure. Yeah, if you've got them up there, let's take a look.
Yeah, so for the Americans, the 2019-2020 end-of-season awards, the three-star awards goes to Sasha Mutala.
Okay.
The Todd Klassen Humanitarian Player of the Year goes to Connor Bouchard.
Nice.
Hardest working, also Connor Bouchard.
No shit.
Most
shit.
Yeah. Most sportsmanlike is Sam Huo. I don't know if I pronounced his name right. I don't think I ever have. Sam Huo?
Huo, yeah.
Okay. Rookie of the Year. Now, you pronounced his name earlier, Parker. I don't know if I can. Mark, what's his last name? Lejoie?
Yeah.
Okay, and Edge Lambert. They both got it.
Oh, right on.
And then Defensive Player of the Year goes to Luke Zazula. Offensive Player of the Year, Sasha Mutala. And MVP, anyone want to take a guess?
Boosh.
Sasha.
Sasha,
I would pick
yeah.
Boosh.
Sasha. Yeah, I would have picked Boosh, but I haven't seen the whole season, so I'm really bummed. I really wanted to come down for a game this season and hang with you guys, but
it was an interesting year. It was really interesting. I felt bad really for Christoph because he was out with injury for so long, and then comes back for I think 2 games against Kamloops that weekend, and then everything gets shut down. It was funny. I was actually down filming in the ZAM entrance one of those games, and I didn't know he was back on the ice, and he skated right by me, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, he's back!" And then everything got shut down. So anyway,
so did you ask the question if they should have given?
Okay, we talked about that ahead of time. So last week, now at this point today, the CHL has completely canceled everything. There's no Memorial Cup this year, which I got to be honest, Kelowna's probably going, phew, thank God that happened. Oh, nobody got that joke. Anyway.
No.
I did. I had a smirk.
Kelowna's had a rough season as far as being Memorial Cup host, but no, they canceled everything. But last week they just canceled the regular season officially, and then they started hanging out like the Scotty Monroe Trophy. Seattle automatically at that point clinched a last playoff spot. What do you guys think about the fact that even though the season at that point the regular season had got canceled, do you think it still was good to give out awards and all that sort of stuff? Because not everybody got to play the same amount of games. Not everybody had the same opportunities. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah.
No, I do not think so.
Parker, what did you say?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Why? There's how many games left? 6, 7, 8? Less than 8, probably,
Yeah.
for the award. Like, you've played the full season. To me,
Yeah, like
if you're Adam Beckman and you get 107 points, you fucking to get your award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
they still worked. They still busted their asses. They trained hard for the season, not knowing this was going to happen. Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely deserving.
Well, maybe if you're halfway through the season or whatever, then I would understand not. They played 60 out of 68 at least, most teams.
I think the Ams ended at 63, if I remember right.
Yeah, so everyone's likely above 60
Yeah.
or like damn close. So I say they deserve it.
Cool.
And those guys are all working for their contracts, for their future, for everything. That stuff doesn't go unnoticed in those respects. Obviously, Beckman was going to sign anyways. He just signed with Minnesota yesterday.
Yeah.
2 days ago. So, I think those, you work hard and, obviously that's not, the end goal for all these players is just to, it's like a mini personal goal. Obviously, you want to, win these, personal accolades, but, that's not the end all to be all for any of those players. Especially those of them that are on strong teams that we're looking forward to, a playoff run. It's just kind of, but it still means something, I think, and it gives a basis, for them to work off for next year too. And I think it's positive. I think that's what they did was the right thing. It's just those kids earned it. All of them did.
Okay, well, let me come back and follow up and say that the only reason why I said no is because for the people who are closer together, within points. And I'm more or less thinking about the NHL is how close some people are and they're fighting, tooth and nail within points to, be the number one or whatever. That's where I'm I don't know if you should, because that doesn't seem fair because they are within games of each other to be able to beat that out. But as far as people like Beckman who are clearly going to win it anyways.
Yeah.
And then also with the whole Americans doing their thingies, awards, I think that's fine. Their season was over anyway.
Team awards were going to happen regardless, which is good.
Yeah.
And real quick, congrats to Adam Beckman. I was actually quite surprised it took Minnesota that long to actually sign him. I mean, that kid's been dominant most of the season anyway. So,
there's been a lot of NHL signings during this too.
Yeah, well, there's also been Anaheim releasing players, and then the league's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I cannot believe they did that. It's so bad.
Now they put the roster freeze on.
Hey, here's some salt in the wound. You're off the team.
Peace.
By the way, we don't need you anymore. Parker, I mentioned it to you before the call, but I want you real quick to put yourself in the shoes of a 20-year-old this season that it just abruptly ends, man. I mean, what do you imagine's going on through these guys' heads?
I'm devastated. I can't imagine. I was saying this to my dad yesterday, actually. After this all got canceled and everything. I was lucky enough to know, we were down game 5 in Everett, 8-0 after the second period. And I was going into it, I said, I know that this is my last period in the dub. This is my last period as an American. And I'm very grateful to have had that. So to those guys who, get off the ice for the last time not knowing it, I can't imagine. It's just, especially these guys who've had such long careers, 4 or 5 years, whatever. To not have any closure and just kind of have it end like that. It's fucking horrible. I feel horrible for those guys. I'm thinking of them. I've tried to comment and text and tweet to all these guys and see, just to say congratulations. And, it sucks, man. I'd be devastated. I am devastated for those guys. Those are my boys playing with them and against them and everything. So it's horrible, man, and it sucks, and it's just, it's obviously the way of the road and kind of the way it had to be, but I feel for those guys, and like I said, I'm like so grateful for the opportunity that I had to know going into my last period that this is my last period. I'm gonna play hard for 20 minutes or whatever, and then it's time for the next chapter. But for those guys to just kind of snap of a finger and it's over, I mean, it's brutal.
It's good insight. I think I've seen a lot of selfish fans that are really worried about, and don't get me, I say that came across wrong. Everybody's worried right now. There's a lot of unknowns in the world. And when I say selfish, I see people that are, worried about their ticket money and all that sort of stuff and, what's going to happen and blah, blah, blah. That is what it is. I think for me, the biggest thing that I want to, get out to people, and we've been trying in the Facebook group and stuff, is like reach out to a 20-year-old, find them on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or something, and just send them an encouraging message. Last night I sent one to Beck Warm on Instagram, just saying, man, it sucks, but keep your head up. Brighter days are ahead for sure. But I can only imagine what those guys are going through right now. Parker, you give a little bit of insight there. How have people been responding back to you, or has it been pretty quiet right now with everybody?
Looks like his roommate or something.
Oh yeah, he muted himself. Sorry if I actually paid attention to the screen.
Tisk, that is horrible.
But
sorry, my mom came in.
Parker's
hi, Parker's mom. No, but I was just saying, have you heard back from anybody? Like, you've been reaching out to guys. Has it been pretty quiet? Everybody kind of letting it sink in right now, or?
Yeah, I just nice. I sent out a tweet last night, just being like, "Hey, congratulations to all these boys. I'm thinking of you guys, whatever." Like, commented on some Instagrams. I mean, it's like, there's a reflection period for these guys too. It kind of happens really fast. So, I mean, obviously, like, they're gonna appreciate like your support and stuff, but it's. I don't know what the hell I'd be thinking or doing if that was me. I mean, you think of these guys, I mean, some futures are like predetermined a little bit. You kind of start looking forward to, school or whatever it may be. But like, I think of Kyle Olson, who's a great buddy of mine.
Yeah.
I think of Matt Wedman in Kelowna. I think of like a few of these 20-year-olds who are, fighting for contracts, and the playoffs is where you make your money when you're looking for a contract, right?
Yeah.
You look at Geeky, who tore shit up in 2017, and he got his contract, in the summertime after tore shit up in the playoffs. That's, he was probably going to sign anyway because he's fucking unbelievable player. But that's how that's what happens. You do well in the playoffs and you get a contract, or that helps your cause. So for those guys where it's uncertain whether maybe they'll go to school if they don't get a contract they want, or they're looking for a certain deal, and now likely they're not going to have a chance to get that because they didn't have the chance to move forward in the playoffs. That, like I said, that's where you make your money. That's where the magic happens. So, and I feel horrible for those guys. I mean, everyone too, man. Like you never know like what can happen in the future, and like with school or with pro, or like for me, I got the chance to go up to the East Coast and see what it was about, and decide that I didn't want to do that. Say this happens to me last year, I probably sign a contract in the East Coast because I don't know what it's about, and I wanted to play pro hockey.
Yeah.
It's like crazy how many people this is going to affect, like all these 20-year-olds, not knowing kind of what their future holds right now. So it's just like, it's a lot to take in for all these guys.
Yeah. How do you guys, how do you think it affects the scouting right now on the flip side of that? I mean, you're right. A lot of these guys, they put a lot of money into the playoffs to make their final decisions. How do you think scouting groups, and Derek's gone. Derek just walked away. He's left us.
Going to get more beer probably.
Or to go leak it all out.
Well, he didn't even mute the damn mic, and we heard his door open and shut. Way to go.
Sorry, dogs were pounding the door. I had to.
We actually did not hear the dogs.
No worries.
Just so you know.
But how do you guys think that would affect scouting crews right now? I mean, is it?
You can't go and scout, right? In most places.
I imagine I imagine what scouts could be doing is just looking over old footage right now.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, okay, I had this guy on my list. I'm going to go back and watch some of his older games and see how he's doing, kind of thing. Like, yeah, I imagine that's probably part of what they're doing right now.
Yeah. What do you think, Derek?
Yes, same. I mean, if all they have is just this library of video, they're calling every organization and saying, send me every ounce of tape you have on this guy. And they're just sitting in their bunkers watching hours and hours of video.
Has anybody heard if there's going to be a combine for the NHL? No.
Ask this or answer. What is that? What is that?
The combine is where they invite top prospects, usually people that are touted to go like first round.
When does that typically go?
I think it usually happens like in May or June, doesn't it?
Beginning of June, end of May, because the draft's usually third week.
Right, just right after the Stanley Cup Finals ends.
Yes.
That's right.
Which I'm assuming that's being pushed back too, right?
Well, we don't know yet. That's the thing, is we're still in that holding pattern right now.
There's a lot of players saying they'll definitely play Stanley Cup all the way through like August.
Yeah, I saw the players came out with a plan that took like regular season back in like July or something, July and August, to finish it up, and then do playoffs like in September, and then start the regular season for 2020-21 shortly after that.
I don't think so. Here's the deal: if they do want to go through with playoffs, it's just going to be. They might catch everybody up to the same amount of games. And again, this is just my opinion on how you would try to organize something like that. To get everybody to play the same amount of games, whatever that takes, and then either start the playoff then, or you essentially have a league-wide tournament like the college basketball tournament and start today and then have your Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know how else they could do it. You can't. I don't think they're going to finish. I don't think they can play every game that's left in the regular season.
How many are left? I mean, is it like 10, 12, or is it like 20 or 30?
I think we're in the dozen to 15 range.
That's still a lot. That's a lot.
What's that, Parker?
I think it's around 20.
Okay. Yeah, that might be right. But that's a lot of games, man.
Yeah.
Let me see. I know for us, we only had like 4 home games left.
Right.
Well, that's because you played like 20 in the month of October, so.
Okay, we're at 71 games for the Knights.
Oh, wow. So that's 11 left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too many.
So, yeah, I didn't think it was a whole lot because I didn't think we were going to be able to. Like, our big, like, on the road month was January.
Yeah.
So, I've heard a rumor that they'll do something like a 26-team round robin style playoff, rather than the original like tree branch one or whatever. That'd be interesting, but like,
well, what does that mean? I mean, does that mean that your season was just a waste?
No,
of course not. I think it's more of a more accommodating playoff bracket or style for those teams that were on the playoff push. Because right now how the playoffs look, if we were to start right now, are going to be different than if they play out the rest of those 11 games.
Yeah, for sure.
There's teams are going to be in and out, and that's always like a really big part of the season. So doing like a 26-team like round robin style would include some of those teams that were in that push. Teams that aren't, because I think right now the only team that is 100% like out of playoff contention is the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, they are.
And the Senators.
Senators, yeah, okay.
Well, and the Senators, the Senators players are all getting COVID-19 now, so.
San Jose, LA.
Yeah, fucking LA.
Wow, San Jose is officially out?
Well, they're like at the bottom. Like there's, like they're like not officially.
How are those Flyers doing?
Flyers are doing great. I didn't want to brag. I know. I'm just really surprised. Like the Sharks, though. I mean, that's such a 180. It's kind of like what the Senators did a few years ago. You go to the conference finals and then you just suck, and that's what's happened with San Jose.
Yeah.
Of course, Kyle doesn't care. Kyle's not unhappy about that.
No, that's not true. I actually, despite the rivalry, I like the Sharks a lot. I think they've got a lot of really, really awesome players on their team. Whenever, and this is an opinion I've had before I started working here in Vegas, was they've got a lot of guys that are like really, really fun to watch and super, class acts and everything like that. When I met some of the players through the times they've been in our building, they were always super nice, very courteous. They've been one of our best guests, really. Aside from the rivalry, and the rivalry's fun and all, but the Sharks players are great. And seeing guys like Jumbo Joe saying that he wishes he got traded because I felt really bad for him because he is a great player and. He deserves a cup, I think, but I don't think he's going to get one with the Sharks, and he knew that too. So
contractually, they were built for about a 3-year run, which was probably the last 3 years. And, they lost some key parts and some experience. So I think they almost got there and didn't.
Yeah, they had a lot of money tied up with Carlson and Burns and, they brought Marlowe back this year, didn't they, on a 1 year?
Yeah, but now he's gone again.
Oh, that's right. And then he got traded. I mean, yeah, you're right, though. Contractually, they had it built. They just weren't able to get it done.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because they're a good team. They're just, like looking at their roster, they look like an all-star team almost, and they just nothing they can do about it, really.
It's funny. We're talking NHL, and Anya's just like glazed over. I tell you, we talk NHL, and she's just like, I'm done.
I asked a couple questions. Curiosity killed the cat.
Curiosity killed my wife. So
it's killing me right now because, the Flyers were putting together a decent season. Finally, we're getting a little excited. Yeah. It's like the '94 baseball strike when the Expos were leading the division. They were beating everyone in the league, just killing them. They were alive, and then the season ended. Boom. And then no more Expos.
Where are they right now? The Flyers. Are they third?
They're second. They're 1 point behind the Capitals right now.
1 point out, yeah.
And they're talking a lot on Carter Hart too. I'm enjoying his buzz around him. It's really cool to see. That's one thing I really liked about working in the Dub for a while was it's a different perspective, and you see these guys growing up and moving on and doing going to the NHL or just seeing their career path. It's super interesting to see, and and it's something that the average hockey fan doesn't get to see. They don't get to see a bit of what happens at junior level, and I genuinely miss it. I miss the WHL a lot, but
Hey Parker, was the hype around Carter in the WHL warranted? I mean, how many goals did you have against him?
I actually had a substantial amount of goals against him. He's actually a buddy of mine. He's from this area.
Oh, nice.
So I see him out quite I wouldn't say quite a bit, but decently often. Catch up, say hello. Him and I are buddies. I've shot on him a few times. He works with the Oilers goalie coach here in Edmonton. He works. Well, I don't know if he's not going to be working with Cam Talbot anymore because he's with the Flames. But I used to shoot on those guys. Summer 2 summers ago when Carter was still playing for Everett. So yeah, I know him quite well. He's a good guy. Obviously, the system in Everett set him up for success, and obviously there was a few doubters saying, "Oh, if he didn't have the best defense in the league, then he'd be letting in all these goals, whatever."
I did hear that a lot.
I said that a lot, man.
He's 400-0 in the last home games for the Flyers or something, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Awesome.
Other than it's funny. Anya and I were actually supposed to be at that game against Boston a couple weeks ago, which could go down as the last regular season game for the Flyers. I'm glad we didn't go. But other than that, but once again, that was a goalie that stole that game. That was Tuukka Rask's show that night. The Flyers outplayed him, they outshot him, they outchanced him, and they just got beat by Tuukka. But you're right. I think Carter. I think his record is something like 24-4 at home this year.
Wow.
Insane. That's insane.
Yeah, he's like eighth. He's eighth in wins, and he wasn't even getting, number one goalie starts there for a while, and he had an injury for a while.
They're 1A and 1B there. They don't really have a starter.
Right, which whatever. I'm not a fan of that, but I don't know. It works, I guess. I do have to say I like Vigneault. He's been a really good coach this year. I don't want to talk about the Flyers though, because I feel like the more I talk about them, the more I'm going to jinx them.
Just jinx.
Throw a 21-year-old goalie into 60 NHL games in a season.
That's true. No, you can't. And I totally agree with you on that aspect of it. I feel like the Flyers for the longest time, though, have been that 1A, 1B, you know? But the goalies have always been the Achilles heel there. So.
Well, you think like Brian Elliott has a shit ton of experience in the NHL. He's been on a ton of teams, like, and is still like has some years left playing good hockey. So like I don't see really don't see a better situation for Carter to be in, like having an experienced NHL goalie like as a mentor, learning from him, but also like getting substantial playing time and like learning the schedule, learning the travel, learning how tough it is, learning the practices, learning everything. Like I don't see why that would be negative in any way. Like I think they're doing a good job with that. Like I think that's like the perfect way to do it with a young goaltender who you're super high on, and like that's just kind of the way it should be.
Yeah, one of the things that just kind of reminded me was, I mean, this is maybe it's not quite relevant, but like one of the cool parts about my job is I'm there for all the away team practices, and just seeing like Carter Hart and Elliott were like at the net closest to the Zam gate. And it was just interesting seeing them kind of like swap out. And it was just like, you see one guy who's been in the league for a long time, and then, you know, Carter Hart, who's just emerging. It's just fun seeing that contrast, you know, seeing like, just seeing how they, you know, react to each other's movements and whatnot, and just see them talking. Like, I don't know. I think it's really, really fun to see kind of the veteran and the rookie exchanging like that.
Brian Elliott's been a very good surprise this year. I didn't know if he had anything left in the tank, and he really stepped up. I've been really happy. It's been fun watching him.
Absolutely. I remember.
Oh, go ahead.
Anyway, go on. It's dumb. Never mind.
Good, because we're going to switch on to a new topic.
We are. Did this just come out?
NHL?
No, we're headed back to the dub. Did this just get released?
I don't know. I just saw it on my feed.
So the WHL announced that the Bantam draft and the U.S. prospects draft will go on as originally scheduled. So we're
like tomorrow.
Well, we're recording this on the 24th. On the 25th is the U.S. prospects draft.
That'd be fun.
So, but here's the other thing: the WHL Bantam Draft lottery. I have not been day drinking yet. I promise.
That's your problem.
I know that is my problem. The Bantam Draft Lottery will utilize 21 balls. That's awesome. That's a lot of balls. Here's how that goes. Swift Current gets 6 of those. Moose Jaw gets 5. Tri-City gets 4. Prince George gets 3. Regina gets 2.
Regina smells or
it rhymes with fun.
Rhymes with fun.
I hope Regina does not smell. That would be bad. And Red Deer gets 1 ball. Red Deer only has 1 ball.
Only
you heard
one?
it here.
Wow.
1 Regina.
How would that work?
What do you mean?
Red Deer, sorry.
Oh, how would that work?
I'm just kidding.
So anyway, that means that who were the bottom 2? Swift Current and Moose Jaw had 6 and 5 respectively.
Yes.
So those are the 2 that have the highest chance of getting that number 1 pick. And then Tri-City is in there at 3rd. I haven't thought about the Bantam draft for a while, but now that she mentioned that, here we are again.
I actually didn't mention it. You ripped the phone from my hand and you took my thunder of announcements.
Sorry. I am the host with the most.
I'll let it pass.
Hey, Parker, we've been talking a lot about these top 3 guys that they're all supposed to apply for exceptional status or whatever this year. What do you know about those guys? Oh, did we lose you? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Did you hear the question?
I did not. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. I was just going to say, we're talking about the Bantam draft. There's those 3 players that are kind of touted as they're going to do exceptional status applications this year. What have you heard about those kids?
To be honest, I haven't heard a whole lot. Bantam is a little out of my age range nowadays.
You don't follow it anymore, huh?
No, not so much now that my younger brother's, playing junior hockey now too.
Sure.
So I don't know. I doubt there'll be any exceptional. It's kind of the way it works in the dub. There hasn't been any. Obviously, Savoy was the one that they thought would do it, but they changed that rule for him, right? They made like the Savoy rule with injury games and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So, but I don't think so. I mean, he was obviously he's the best player to come into the dub in a long time. So I don't see anything happening with that. It's not good. It's like, unless you're like head and shoulders above everyone else, it's not great. I don't see it benefiting anyone really.
Well, one of those kids was listed at like 5'8", 150. I mean, I can't imagine like playing out there with 20-year-olds at that point. I mean, people like Parker Coyne would just completely flatten a kid like that.
Annihilate him. What would? Oh my God! As a mom, I'd be pissed.
Parker Coyne pissing off moms forever.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. We won't talk at length today. We did talk about it before. I did say, the Dub's a little bit different because they draft a year younger than the OHL and the Q. So that exceptional status is much harder to happen. So, but
Are
anyway,
any of those top three or U.S. players?
I believe they're all Canadian.
Oh, they're all okay. Because I know about the U.S. prospect draft. Tri-City has number 2.
Has a second
So
pick. Yep.
it doesn't. Is there any really good Canadian or I'm sorry, U.S. player?
I don't know.
Or we don't know enough about him right now.
I don't know.
Okay, moving on. Just curious.
Seattle.
Okay.
Seattle's name stuff. Yeah.
I thought you were just like having a Tourette's moment there. Like, Seattle.
I was just going back. Well, I was like, I just named cities. That's just my tick.
Portland.
New Orleans.
Albany.
The whole. What do you guys think about Seattle postponing the reveal of the name?
It annoys me,
I agree.
but it still annoys me.
You agree with it being annoying, or you agree with them doing it?
I agree with it being annoying, but I agree with them doing it, like pushing it back.
Tell him why, because I was like, that's stupid. That's some fucking bullshit shit. But then he said the reason why.
I'm assuming that Parker's laughing at us.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit.
Shit.
No, because you can't have an event around it right now. Why would you release it virtually when you can't have an event?
That's the only reason why I'm okay.
Yep.
Because it's fucking bullshit.
Did you guys see how Vegas did it?
Yeah.
It was out in the plaza, and there were people there. Yeah. And I would hope that Seattle does something similar, and I'm sure that's what they have planned.
Yeah.
So can't really do that right now, but
there's plenty bigger fish to fry with what's going on in the world these days.
And it's still 18 months.
Team.
Yeah, and we've got time. People need to calm the fuck out, especially now. I understand people were getting upset before, but it's like there's a few more important things we need to worry about at the moment.
Like stay in your fucking house.
Yeah,
because I'm tired of being grounded.
If there's one thing that this is kind of a hot take. I am genuinely not a fan of Seattle fans at all. Like
oh boy.
The Seahawks, the Mariners, the Sounders. Oh my God, like the way the fans treat their teams when they lose like a single game, or just or the Mariners, like the way that city treats their teams gets kind of old sometimes. And now I know it's not every fan. It's just a lot of them are super passionate sports fans, and it drives me insane sometimes, especially the Seahawks fans. Oh my God, there's a reason I've never been to a Seahawks game, so I didn't want to be around them. That's just it.
Derek's got a hot take.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly like I hate the Seahawks with a passion, and it's because their fans are fucking idiots.
And I see it bleeding over. Yeah.
I've stuck with the Mariners. I've always been a Mariner fan, and
me too.
I have found that Seattle is somewhat of an educated baseball town, but with that said, the last 4 or 5 years has not been good, and people are just kind of getting tired of it. But Seahawks fans are just incorrigible. I watched.
They're the worst.
and he retired with the Cowboys, and I kind of stuck with the Cowboys. I went to a Seattle Seahawks him play, and the Seahawks ended up winning. Drew threw an interception for a touchdown to Sean Springs at the end of the game. So Seahawks were, they won. They should be excited. We're trying to walk out of the stadium, and we almost got murdered. We literally, people wanted to kill us because we were wearing, your team just won, dude. Simmer down. And we weren't talking shit or anything. We had our heads down. We were just trying to get out of the stadium. And from then on, I was like, fuck the Seahawks.
Yeah. Well, when Seattle does get their team, I do plan to get a jersey.
Yeah.
But when I go up there to watch my Knights in that Key Arena, whatever they're going to call it, I'm wearing a Knights jersey. 1,000%.
I'm going to get a jersey that's customized with Glatt 69.
Yeah.
Pick 69. It's hilarious.
Parker, I wanted to ask you a question. I keep coming back to you as a player. Obviously, you've got some more experience. Anya and I went to a Seattle Everett game at the ShoWare Center a couple weeks ago before this all hit. And one of the things that was interesting to me, and I didn't think much about it at the time, but was the way that visiting teams enter onto the ice.
Yes.
And I didn't think much about it, but I was talking to Bush again a couple days after that, and I said, hey, we were up there, and he was like, oh man, he's like, that place is crazy. He's like, for real, somebody's going to get into a fist fight one day. What do you think? Did you ever have any crazy fans there as you guys had to kind of tunnel your way onto the ice?
Yeah, few crazy ones, because when you go off, you go right past their team too.
Right.
So they're, especially if you lose, they're celebrating at the net, and it can get, there's been a couple confrontations over my time, and then with fans too, because the tunnel's right there, and they don't always do a great job, narrow it, because you go right through, but there's people here, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So people can get at you right there. If they felt like it, and some of them do feel like it. So,
I'm sure.
I think, last year we had one game where, a fan was leaning over or into the tunnel. Sometimes security, they don't do a great job of, actually, I have a funny story about Seattle. So I don't know, Aaron, I think my billet dad, Matt.
Yeah.
So my billet mom, Dawn, is the cheerleading coach for Kamaiak, and she works there. And they had cheerleading state in, I think, at the Tacoma Dome or whatever. This was 2 years ago, I think, when we played Seattle in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
When I was 18. And they, obviously Matt and Dawn were there, and they brought the cheerleading team to the ShoWare for the playoff game. I think it was it was the game 1 or game 2 or whatever, and the people, the ushers or the security or whatever at the ShoWare, we scored, and the ushers went over to them and told them that they weren't allowed to. They had to be quiet.
What?
Yeah, a group of 20 young girls screaming and yelling because we scored or whatever. They're obviously cheering for us because connection with me, and I think, Sandy was on the team at that point too, right?
Yeah.
That's who was living with me at Matt and Dawn's. So they had an experience with the ushers there saying, "Oh, you guys are being too loud. You can't. You gotta pipe it down."
Oh my gosh! What a bunch of babies! I can't stand.
Fuck you, ShoWare.
So
Fuck you, ShoWare.
I can say that.
However, I like the building. It's pretty
The
cool.
building's a beautiful facility. When we were up there, it was, Seattle and Everett, which is a big rivalry. And I tell you what, Everett scored first, and they had a huge amount of people behind that end where you guys enter the arena. There was a huge amount of Everett fans there. And I believe if the ushers would have told them to shut up, it would have been pure anarchy, to be honest with you.
Okay, but I agree. Those two rivalries are hilarious. Being at there, watching Everett and Seattle, and just when Everett scored, it was
that whole end.
Yeah, that whole end. Because we sat in the family section because I figured it would be the safest, right?
Yeah.
And cheapest because I ain't gonna spend money. No, not on my team. But it was crazy just how loud that they got there. Just like the away team. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Cool. So that's 2 players now that have told me that's a crazy place to play. And I believe Bo McHugh actually told me once too that was the roughest place to play as a visiting team.
Yeah, I believe it.
So bottom line, Seattle fans suck. That's what we're saying. Moving on. No, I'm just.
I know she's with. You suck, Anya.
What I was gonna say real quick, because we're getting ready to wrap up here. Derek, are you still with us? Because your screen is like stuck on a cheesy grin right now.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's paused. I'm here, man.
It literally
Cool. I just
is.
wanted to make sure you were still there and you didn't put like a cardboard cutout and walk away or something.
I see him moving on my side.
Internet issues. Yeah, who knows? As long as we can still hear you.
I haven't seen Kyle for about a half an hour.
Really?
The joys of virtual shit. So,
I might
camera not working?
mainline into the router next time instead of go wireless. Maybe that'll help on my end. I don't know.
yeah, we might have to.
I don't know if it's me.
We might hardwire too. We'll see. Real quick before we go, we're running out of time here, but everybody right now has been doing replays of games. I want each of us to go around and give one memorable game. NHL, WHL, whatever it is. Parker, obviously, you can talk about when you played in if you want, or when you've watched. I will start.
No, I'm going to start. I don't have a particular favorite game. I just have a favorite experience of being at a game, and this is a touchy-feely moment.
Uh-oh.
My favorite part, I'm just kidding, I'm not going to cry, was when Parker was playing for the Americans, and after every game, you would go and toss a puck out to somebody. Like, you would just find somebody in the crowd, and you would do it, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, because it's like you connected with the fans that way, and not a lot of players take the time to really care about their fans like that. And I think every time, even now, you're not here anymore. And every time I go, I always wait for somebody to pick that back up. So maybe one day, but I always thought that was just the coolest thing. But I know that's not game. So if I had to pick a game, it would be, I have no idea what game 5, but it was with Hamnick, Comrie, Nichols. That last game.
Game against Kelowna in the first round a few years ago.
That was crazy. He had like 67 saves, Comrie. And I love goalies. Goalies are my favorite. So, but just 67 saves. It was just, but then when they lost it and Comrie went to his face, Hamnick came and hugged him, and just that ending and just how they all came together and just like, we played so hard and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, that was probably my favorite game that I've watched in the last 6 years live.
That was a good one.
Okay, you can go now.
I can go. My most memorable game, I'm going to go NHL, would have been Flyers and Penguins, 2011, I believe it was. It was the last game of the regular season heading into the playoffs. That was when the 2 coaches for the teams, Dan Bylsma and Peter Laviolette, got into a war of words. They were both ejected out of the game. That's when the Hulkster fan in Pittsburgh was taunting, what's his name? I just went blank. Redhead dude. Scott Hartnell. It was just like a free-for-all at the end of the regular season, and then the Flyers ended up beating him in 6 in the playoffs. So that's one that really sticks out to my mind. Who's next? I don't care. Pick one.
Wow.
Yeah. When I started getting into hockey, it was kind of the peak of it was kind of the beginning of the Red Wings Avalanche rivalry, and the brawl where Claude Lemieux got turtled by Darren McCarty.
Yeah,
that was. I remember watching that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna like the sport forever. That was a pretty epic moment, and it just really ignited the fire for me in hockey.
Love it.
But I will say a good runner-up is my first game that I worked here in Vegas. It was an exhibition game, but it was insane. It was insane. Like, I cannot, like...
Were you scared?
No, I was pumped. I was nervous, but I was pumped. I was excited.
That's awesome.
He wasn't scared till he ran out onto the ice at the wrong time.
Yes. So, no. I still feel like I was in the right there. But anyway, Pacioretty had... he had a hat trick that game, and it was just kind of like a good, like, welcome to Vegas kind of vibe for me. And I'll never forget it. You know, like walking onto the ice during a TV timeout, telling Coyotes players to get out of the way so I can scoop up snow. So yeah, I wasn't rude about it. I was, excuse me, behind you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that'll definitely stick out for a long time.
Derek.
For sure, going back to the heyday, my heyday when I was watching hockey every day, 94, 95-ish, Game 3, 95, Game 3, Eastern Conference Finals, Flyers, Devils, and Lindros scored that overtime goal past Marty Brodeur. Was just sick, dude. They had lost the first 2 games, and it just didn't look good. They ended up losing the series in 6, but Lindros firing that freaking shot past Marty Brodeur for overtime in the playoffs was just electric, and I was from then on out.
Yeah,
I imagine scoring on Marty Brodeur is a pretty good feeling.
I've gotten the chance to see that guy live, and TV does him no justice, man. I actually watched him and Peter Forsberg play in the same game against each other, and it was you don't understand unless you're live at the game.
Yeah, I just love whenever that one's on repeat, or sometimes I'll look at clips on YouTube. It totally brings back that feeling of where I was sitting in my living room watching that.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite NHL moment.
Awesome. What about you, Parker? What's the game that sticks out the most in your memory?
Oh man, well, not so much in my. I guess I have a couple. It was actually, I think that was. They played, with 1989. Calgary Flames beat Montreal Game 6 at the Montreal Forum for the Stanley Cup. Obviously, I'm a Flames guy, so obviously I'm not even a thought at that point. But,
Yeah.
That's like a cool moment to see, my team. Another one is I was in kindergarten when the Flames went on their cup run in 03-04. The game when Iginla fought LeCavier.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one that sticks out for me watching that and just being like, holy fuck. The 2 captains, Iginla had 50 goals that year or whatever he had, And then a live one for me that I saw was in 2017 when the Oilers played the Sharks in the first round. And I was at Game 2, and McDavid scored his first goal in the third period.
Nice.
First playoff goal in the third period on Martin Jones. It was right in front of me. I was sitting 10th row. It was in the third period. Came down, shot 5-hole, and the place went fucking bananas.
That kid is something special. If you guys haven't,
that's a good live one for me. I was lucky enough to. We have season tickets here. We did. We don't this year, but we had season tickets at the time. So I'd just gotten back from Tri-Cities, so it was the time of my life back then. Partying in Edmonton every weekend when they were on the. That was a cool live one for me. That was his first ever playoff goal, Game 2 against the Sharks. That's also when Cassian ran all those guys over in the one shift when he had the.
That's right.
He had going on. We had the chops and everything. So.
What about the puck to the face? That doesn't stick out of your mind?
Yeah, I still am you can kind of tell I can't really smile.
Oh, that's a bummer. Did you have to get surgery?
No, I didn't. I don't know. It's still swollen. I don't know.
Well, I figured that was my memorable of you is
sending the picture.
Sending that picture. I was like, oh,
photo like this.
So what's
I totally
do?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell, but like now that you pointed out, like, yeah, is it coming back though? Is it like your movement?
No.
Fuck.
It wasn't happened or January, I guess. So it hasn't come back much. I have a one-sided smile now. I can't really like.
That's awesome.
Still looks good. What do you have a game you played in that sticks out in your head?
I think my first year. You and I have talked about this before, Aaron. My very first year when Carlo passed to Rasmussen for the game winner in overtime when we were trying to make and then we ended up not making it because Spokane had won or tied or whatever.
Yeah.
Down the road. That was one that stuck out for me now that I think of it because we were all so bought in. We were all like, this is what we want to do. And, seeing all those, it was my first year and like watching the older guys and knowing that it could be, you know, one of their last games and everything, just like kind of the buy-in of the team. And then obviously the playoff run when we double swept and all those games were just like, you know, watching Geeky and Rasmussen, like I said before, just fucking tear shit up.
Yeah, that was a fun.
Going out of style.
I was working ice then, and that was insane.
Yeah, like it was fucking going out, like, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. That always brings back a you know, that'll have a special place in my heart forever. You know, that was a special time of my hockey career. I'll always remember that. So
I'll end with this thought real quick. WHL, Parker, I remember the last goal you scored in the building, which was game 3, I believe, or game 4 against Everett. That your last year there, overtime goal that you got in, and just the excitement you guys all had. It was, you know, obviously the series didn't end the way that people wanted it to, but that was fun to just watch that, and the elation and the happiness, and that was the last time you guys were on the ice that year. And that was one that sticks out in my head. So, anyway, you look bored. You guys all look like you need naps. Kyle, you look creepy. By the way, Kyle, the picture you posted on Instagram, or not Instagram, sorry, Twitter the other day of you at like 14 years old, I believe.
Yeah, I was probably like 14 or 15 or something. I think I was actually senior year. I was probably older than that.
Don't do that again, please.
No, I'm going to. That's the best.
That was
the
terrifying.
Best.
Yeah.
I had options, and I picked the one that cringed me out the most.
Options.
I had options.
I had options. There were better pictures.
I burned all my pictures from that age. Oh, you know what? I can show you a picture of Anya when she was 16. Here, let's see.
I want to see beardless Aaron.
That's my wife at 16.
Look at them all, like, I can't really see.
That's on my desk all the time. So,
and then a year later, I got pregnant.
Yeah, then a year later, she got pregnant. So.
I was a bad girl.
Anyway, guys, I appreciate you going through this. I think it worked out fairly well. It's still kind of weird. This is the world we live in right now for at least the next couple of weeks. So.
I like the video chat though. It kind of helps, you know, feel a little more connected.
I don't know what we're doing.
We would send you on, Parker, but you won't let us.
Yeah, you got to come so we can have that beer and I can give you a goddamn shirt, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Fucking A. I get it though. But that was, I don't know if you listened to last week's episode, that was my hardest part about this corona apocalypse was your text that said, oh, I was going to come visit you guys, but I can't now.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was planning on coming and surprising my billet mom, and I was supposed to be leaving today because I was gonna come for the last weekend there, but obviously
son of a bitch. Well, we get it.
So sad.
It'll just
Stupid
make
Corona.
It'll make the next time, you know, even more enjoyable.
More special.
Yep. So. All right, fellas, I'm going to get ready to wrap things up here. Anybody have any parting words we want to say to people?
I'm hungry.
Wash your goddamn hands.
Stay inside. Fuck.
Stay the fuck home.
Go for walks, though. Go for walks, though.
Yeah, we're allowed to go for a walk.
Yeah. That. Exercise. But don't go to the fucking bar. Don't go to the beach. Don't invite 20 fucking friends over.
The hardest thing for me has been doing burpees in my basement, so.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We gotta get on that NHL, man.
I know. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. For sure.
Box?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get on too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll get that all set up this week and we'll start playing a little bit. I believe we all have NHL 19 for sure, right? I don't have 20.
Yeah, I've got both. I've got 19 and 20.
I got both also.
You got cool. NHL 1? Derek?
No, I have 19 as well, but I'm a PlayStation guy, so fuck
yeah, you
y'all.
are. Yeah, you are, motherfucker. Maybe one day.
Well, I'm not allowed to play.
She's not. I don't let her play. Anyway, that would be a whole... Maybe we'll make that happen. That would be fun. Anya versus everyone else, and she'll just piss us off because all she does is just hit A the whole time and just fuck it
Jackson kicks my ass. Jackson kicks my ass every time. We are going to live stream. So last week I live streamed... myself playing Ken Griffey Jr. baseball on the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I commentated the entire game. Jackson and I are going to do NHL 94. We're going to play each other. live that, and he's also going to kick my ass because I'm terrible. I don't know why, but
that's all good. Us dads are all terrible. All right, guys. So on that note, what I want to say is keep an eye out for our social media sites. We will talk more about that once we're up and running to get some NHL stuff going on. Parker, thank you so much for your time. As always, you are an officer and a gentleman. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me on, man. Anytime.
For sure. I'm going to take you up on that. You might just become a regular every week. Kyle, it's always
doing anything else.
Kyle, it's always good to have you, my friend.
Yeah, always glad to be here.
You look professional with your headphones on. Derek, we love you, brother. Hope you and the family and the kids are doing well there in quarantine.
We're good, man.
Awesome.
Everything's good.
Anya and I are good. Our 5 kids did not show at all, so we'll just tell you they're alive and well.
They are alive. I just yelled at them. That's all I did before we started.
So anyway, on that note, guys. Huh?
Oh, I was just going to say, Sam has opened the door and peeked in about 900 times.
It's okay. You know what? Our youngest does the same thing. He literally comes in while we're working, and he's like...
They're all in school right now, so at the couch doing their homeschool, so... All right, guys, check it out, buriedpuck.com. Hello at Buried Puck Threads. Check us out on all the social media channels. And on that note, we're going to do a 1, a 2, a 3. Ferda.
Go, Knives, go.
No way, Jose.
Staying up all night, smoking dirt weed from apple cores and getting in fights. Playing N64 till the day turns night, and on the in-between, I tell myself to write. Now it's 20 years later and I still play the game, but I remember those nights like they were yesterday.